myself, Dom. Yeah.
So just sing out when you're ready, man.
Yeah, keep going.
Jamie, you right?
Yeah, let's go ahead.
Sweet, take us away.
Leon, how do you assess that? Probably a bit of a sluggish start, but managed to come right eventually.
Look, you got to give some credit to the Waratahs. You know, they were always going to come and play, and managed to get on the board early. You know, it's not always going to go your way, but I thought the way we responded was excellent. By the time we got to half time, we were feeling like we're starting to get some good dominance in a lot of areas. And just at the start, probably, you know, just sort of getting Bowden back on the grass for the first time for a while, and Brycey and the combinations were just starting to come right. I suppose after 15 minutes, it started to feel like we were getting good clarity around how and where we wanted to attack them, and from there, you know, we were able to score some good tries, some long range tries, and some good short range tries as well.
Dalton, did things feel a little rusty to start with in that first kind of 20 from your perspective as well?
Yeah, it did. But at the end of the day, you know, I feel like the excitement was there from the team. Maybe a bit too much, too excited. But we sort of identified, you know, I went up to Baz and Finlay, and we just talked about, you know, we just need to get back to basics, and that's our carry and clean. And, you know, when we started doing that, at the back end of the first half, we started getting momentum, and, you know, we used that momentum to slingshot us into the second half. So, we identified that.
Leon, was the efficiency, you know, finals time and requirements, was the efficiency pleasing tonight? The team seemed to be kind of go up a gear in that area.
Yeah, look, I think a lot of the areas that we've struggled, I suppose, is just missing that critical clean at just that moment where we've got them on the ropes, you know, and it stopped us scoring tries. I thought some of our carry and breakdown work, which we've spoken about and worked on a lot, was excellent. And you know, you saw at the end of the game we were starting to get some massive meters through the middle, just through the work that we'd done. We'd broken them down, and we're starting to get the rewards, and got held up, I know, doing 3 more times and knocked the ball out the end. So it's still not perfect, but we're getting down there and giving ourselves a chance to score, which is much better than, you know, what we had experienced sort of a few weeks back. We weren't creating a lot because we weren't able to string phases together.
Do you see your scrum, your maul and defence in particular as a real platform for playoff rugby?
Yeah, definitely. You know, our defence has been pretty good all year. You know, even tonight, probably a little bit frustrated with the 2 tries we conceded, but beyond that, we felt pretty good. I thought probably didn't compete in the air as well as we have done. You know, we just gave them a way in, and, you know, still just a couple of little penalties that just gave them a way in, but we managed to scrap and fight and win those little moments. You know, they come here to play and had nothing to lose and everything to gain, and they chucked everything at us, and we were able to withstand that, so you can be pretty proud of that.
It's obviously not set in stone yet, but highly likely to be a rematch of last year's final down in Christchurch next week. How do you go about going down there and making the final, rectifying that result?
Yeah, exciting for us, really exciting. You know, like, I suppose we can go down there with a mindset of going to play and having a real crack at them, and I think it sits nicer with us than probably, you know, here with the expectations and being hot, you know, well, not hot favourites, but probably having the pressure of expectation. So we'll go down there and we'll get stuck in and look forward to that.
Dalton, if it's the Crusaders, does it hold any fears for you guys? Do you think you need to go down there, you know, pretty confident?
Yeah, I don't think we need to change anything. I know the boys will be looking forward to it, and yeah, there's a bit of bad blood there with us and Crusaders, but that's where you look forward to these big challenges, and going down there and getting one against them down there in a big game. Couldn't ask for a better opportunity.
Can you just talk about that bad blood?
Oh, I knew one of you guys would come on that. Nah, it just dates back to, you know, years ago. You know, that rivalry we have with him, the Blues City boys going up against those boys from down south, and, it gets stronger each year, and the blood gets a bit more boiled after a while. Ask him. But yeah. At the end of the day, we're looking forward to it, and it's going to be a good one.
Leon, you wouldn't have thought probably you'd start a quarterfinal with a second row of James Tucker and Tom Robinson, but you did. And just what did you think of the job they did? Kind of stepping up to the plate.
Yeah, awesome. I thought both of them had a fantastic game. Work rate was through the roof, and the line out and the set piece work was excellent, and got through plenty of good work. So pleased for Paul Tito and the work he's done with those guys. He's worked overtime, and I thought Cam Suafau off the bench was fantastic. So one of the downsides with our season we've had is we've used a lot of players, but the upside now is we've got guys that have had game time and ready to go.
Do you get Caleb back next week?
Yeah. We hope so. Yeah, he was always going to be a push, but desperate to try and play, but never quite got there. So fingers crossed he's available for next
What
week.
is it with him then?
His was an
Is it a quad or?
it was an ankle. Yeah.
Ankle in the end, yeah.
Leon, Australian teams have never won a finals match in New Zealand in the history of Super Rugby. What do you think that says about the disparity between the two nations?
They've won finals matches in Australia, and the Brumbies have got a game there tonight. Like there's I think New Zealand Rugby or Super Rugby, I think there's some pretty strong teams in New Zealand at the moment. It'd be tough to come here and play, us Crusaders or the Chiefs. So, and I think the Brumbies, they're playing good rugby, and I think the Hurricanes are going to find it tough there as well. I think the Brumbies should be favourites. So, the Australian teams are working things out and getting a little bit better in a lot of areas. And tonight you saw the Waratahs competing in a lot of areas for a period of time there, and it took us a lot to break them down.
Leon, is Nepo playing some of the best rugby for you guys?
I genuinely think he is. I think you're seeing Nepo who's been challenged by different coaching groups around his general play and mobility, and I think you're seeing a guy working really hard to get around the field, and some of the subtleties, a back pass from when he's carrying the pod right on the line, really accurate. Those are the subtleties that he's brought to his game. We know he's a devastating scrummager, but he's trying really, really hard to move around the park well, and you're seeing him, getting some big minutes in now. We're watching him closely, and he's working just as hard as in the 55th minute as he is in the first. So that's really exciting for us.
And Dolts, you guys, Kira and Hoskins have played a lot together this year as a starting unit. I mean, did it feel good out there? Do you feel like you guys are kind of, coming good at the right time of the year, kind of thing?
Yeah, and it was when the team was named. We sort of us three sort of came together, and we were like, oh shit, it's been a while. I think it was probably the first game.
Yeah.
That was the first time we started, and that was the first game, and then Aki got injured. So we just, it was good to have some, familiarity with those boys. But at the end of the day, next person's up if someone gets injured. But us three have been together for years now, and we know we get the best out of each other. And we, especially going out there to battle for 100th time with them, it's always good to go out with those boys.
And Rex, he didn't really sort of get any amazing stats or anything, but he seemed to be involved in a lot that was good for you guys. Is he playing well, to see?
Yeah, definitely. I think Rex in the last couple of weeks, physically on defence, he's been outstanding all year. I think his attacking game and some of the subtlety to it is improving, and he's having more of an impact on the games, which is important to us because he's such a key player. But Bowden's hitting good form. Dolt's probably had his best game of the year. And you're talking about guys like Nepo and that stepping up, and Brycey I thought was outstanding as well. So, some guys hitting some good form at the right time of year.
Leon, obviously at this point of the year, every game could be your last with this side. Is it easy enough to take the emotion out of these things? Do you look to kind of soak up the emotion of this time of year, or?
Yeah, that's even today I was thinking, man, I hope this is my last day here. So it's not, which is awesome. Another week, and desperately love another one past next week as well. So all we can do right now is just do the best we can, in the time we've got, and make sure that we tick every box we possibly can to give ourselves the best chance. And starts with recovering really well and getting excited about the Crusaders in Christchurch.
Maybe, yeah.
You'll be chair of some big
Drew.
yeah.
So that's a nice place to end it. Cheers.
Cheers, mate.
Thanks, guys.
Ready to go.
Excuse me.
There's something about the chicken and the Aussies, eh? Last week they had the chicken in there too. Are you good, Dukes? Jamie, you sweet? Shot, lead us away.
Darren, how do you summarise that? It was looks to be going pretty well for you guys to start things in the first half, but just your summary of that 80 minutes.
Yeah, it's so disappointing. Obviously, you come here with some hope and a plan. I feel bad for the boys because the naysayers back home will wake up and see that score and just think we weren't in it at any point. Don't get me wrong, Blues were definitely better than us. I'm not saying they weren't, but I don't know. You're always optimistic. Peach gets that try down in the corner. We got another A-zone entry just before around the 35th minute mark. We get the obstruction. We score one or two of those. We don't leak right on half-time when they got that last try. You may be banging and running around with a bit more energy and keep you in the game longer. I think we were 0 from 8 on our entries into the A-zone. The 2 tries we got were from outside it. So yeah, the Blues are super physical, and once the scoreboard got away from us, you're not, as I said, you're not banging or moving around with that last 10 or 15% of desperation and energy you need, and then they just started rolling forward. And we've always known the Blues, the Chiefs, some of those big power teams, once they roll forward on you, it's bloody hard handling them. But full credit to them, they did some tactically really astute things. They had some really good launches off their 5-man line-out plays, bunched us up, went around us. They tackled a choke to slow up all any sort of momentum in that first half hurt us. So yeah, I'm disappointed. You put 8 months' work into it and it comes to an end in a scoreboard that isn't flattering. But I'm also determined that there's enough in this group and that we can improve and have another shot next year.
What sort of particular areas do you have to work on to lift it to be more competitive with the Kiwi sides, particularly in New Zealand?
Well, I look at that. As I said, once the scoreboard got away, they got too physical. They just beat us at all the contacts. Yeah, and we just so whether your attack's not looking great because you're getting beat at the contact, or whether your contact's not good because you're running into 2 men all the time. And then I think what hurt us, I don't know if this is an Australia-wide thing, but definitely what hurt us there was some A-zone execution. Like we had a couple of botched line-outs in the right-hand corner, second half. Yeah, so that's been our issue all year. Like we've fought hard and we've scrapped hard for the most part. We just haven't been accurate, and their skill set under pressure is probably the biggest difference. Like when we do get our little chances, we seem to botch a few more than them, and you're seeing they're long-range try experts. Yeah, they're a hard team when they're on, and their tails are up. But I thought we got in them early. We won a few contestable kicks back. We were getting off the line. We were defending. And that started gives you a bit of hope, and if you can play in Auckland in the Blues' face, that you can compete with them, and that's what's happened to them at different times this year. We just couldn't do it for long enough, and they were too good.
Darren, how long have you been considering that tactical switch you made before the game and the changes, particularly to the back line?
Yeah, it was only actually one change. It was Fekete out and Edmed in, but it caused a slide out of the back line. So, yeah, Lard just didn't have a great training week. We just didn't think he had big minutes in him, Lalakai, so we thought we'd get him off the bench. And the other thing, Parisi carried a hip pointer into the game, and we knew that could go at any time, and it did actually got a bump just before half time, and that seized up. So from that side of things, I thought the plan worked out all right. with Izzy and Lalakai sharing the game, and yeah, I was pretty happy. I thought Donaldson did some good things from the back, late on that last try, kicked well. Tane adds a different dimension than Dono up front, so yeah, it was. We sort of had to sit on it all week because we had a few. We had Holloway, we had Hooper that were all in doubt right up till kick-off. We lost Harry Johnson-Holmes, then Holtz, both our two tight heads as well. So there was probably 3 or 4 scrum penalties, which are big swingers. Not excuses, but as I said, I'm a positive, optimistic bloke. If we get all our best players on the field and we stay in the fight, we can do good things.
Just on Michael Hooper, probably the last time we see him at that super level, how just after his career and contributions you were saying?
Yeah, it was sad for Hoops to see him limping around that last 25 minutes. His knee was buggered, but we lost Charlie Gamble as soon as we put him on. He came on and got a concussion straight away. So Hoops carried a bad knee into that, and he wasn't coming off. And that's just him. He's a warrior. Like he was, yeah. Hoops is Waratahs. He's been there 10 years. He's just so steady in his quality of performance and effort levels he gives every time. And I was just privileged to have a year and a half with him at the end of his career.
Darren, how do you see a potential Blues Crusaders if they get past the draw? How do you see that kind of a blockbuster type semi? How do you see it playing out?
Will be, won't it? Yeah, we've played them both in 3 weeks, so we have a bit of a feel. I heard the Blues were injury free after that, and I presume they'll get Clark back next week. I feel like the Crusaders are limping a little bit. They've got a few injuries. It's all about momentum, isn't it? Yeah, I'd reserve judgment to see how the Crusaders get through tomorrow night, but I do have a feeling that the Blues will go down and give that a good shot.
You have a pretty good record in Christchurch, though, the Crusaders.
Have they? Yeah.
I think they've lost.
Well, they seem to have their measure, don't they? But I don't know. We felt the worst of it then. When they roll forward, there's so many big, talented ball carriers coming one after the other.
Yeah.
They're hard to handle.
When you think kind of ahead, and have you seen enough progress, and have you built enough within this group, do you think, to kind of have a platform to be successful going forward, from next season?
Yeah, of course I do. But like results-wise, we actually went backwards this year, which was disappointing. But I also felt we had a bit of a rails run last year because we were coming off a winless season. And everyone seemed to rest their players, like a lot of the big teams when they came over rested their players. So it potentially wasn't a true indication of where we were. I feel like we're stuck in a bit of a ditch, pardon the pun, but the top 5 teams we can't seem to get at the moment, and the bottom teams we seem to beat regularly and pretty well, with all due respect to Moana last week. But I do, I genuinely feel the squad, the majority of that squad are all young guys. They're all in their low 20s. They're all going to have another year of cohesion. We've specifically recruited some boys back from Europe that are Aussies next year, and as I said, I'm always optimistic. I can't wait to get stuck into next year already.
That's us. Hinte, if he wants to pick the Blues, mate, you're allowed to let him.
Good stuff, Jake.
Thank you.